What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at 4 of my favorite Vanguard ETFs. We will take a look at their performance and how that performance could make you a millionaire in the future. We will also go over the sector weightings of these ETFs and the top 10 holdings of each ETF. And finally, the dividends that you can expect each quarter. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe. The first one we have up here is my personal favorite, and that is VOO, or Vanguard's S&P 500 index fund. And the goal of this fund is to closely track the returns of the S&P 500 index, which is considered a gauge of overall US stock returns. And year to date, VOO has returned almost 24%. However, long-term returns are not as high. VOO since its inception has returned 13.58%, and over the last 10 years has returned 11.77%. And on investor.gov, we can run a calculation to figure out where an account would compound to in the future. And for this example, we ran the calculation with a starting account value of $10,000, a monthly contribution of $583, a length of time of 35 years, and an annual return of 13.58%. And this $583 may seem like a very random number to you. However, in 2024, you can contribute $7,000 to your Roth IRA. On a monthly basis, that breaks down to $583. And with all of these variables plugged into this calculation, we can see that in 35 years, you would have a final balance of $5.2 million. And just like the S&P 500, VOO is heavily weighted in tech. 28.1% of this ETF is made up by information and technology companies. Other double-digit weightings in this ETF include healthcare, financials, and consumer discretionary. And we can see those large tech companies represented in their top holdings, with Microsoft and Apple coming in at number 1 and number 2, both sitting around 7% weighting of the ETF. Other top positions include Amazon, Nvidia, Alphabet, Meta, Berkshire Hathaway, Tesla, and United Health Group. And VOO pays out dividends on a quarterly basis. We can see that over the last 6 quarters, their lowest payout has been $1.43, with their highest coming in at $1.67. The second Vanguard ETF up here is VIG. And VIG seeks to track the performance of the S&P US Dividend Growers Index. Year to date, VIG is up 12.12%. Long-term performance comes in a little bit lower at 9.17% since the fund was created in 2006. However, over the last 10 years, VIG has returned at 10.46%. And we can run the same calculation as before, but with a return of 9.17%. This results in an account balance of $1.78 million in 35 years. And one of the reasons I personally own VIG is because of the diversification that it offers. Information technology is still a high weighting, coming in at 22%. However, industrials makes up 13%, healthcare at 15.5%, financials at 18%, and consumer staples at 12.3%. And in terms of its top holdings, we can see that it still has Microsoft and Apple as its top holdings, but they are only around 5% of the fund. We can also see United Healthcare Group is on the list, sitting at 3.6%, and then we have ExxonMobil, JP Morgan, Visa, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Broadcom, and MasterCard. And VIG pays quarterly dividends as well, with their lowest dividend payment over the last 6 quarters coming in at 69 cents and their highest coming in at 86 cents. The next ETF on the list is VYM. And VYM seeks to track the performance of the FTSE High Dividend Yield Index, which measures the investment return of common stocks of companies characterized by high dividend yields. Year to date, VYM is only up 3.54%. And VYM has slightly lower performance than the last 2 ETFs that we have looked at, with their return coming in at 7.81% since the fund was created in 2006, and their 10-year return coming in at 9.01%. And a return of 7.81% over 35 years results in an account balance of $1.3 million. And VYM has a lot less weighting in technology, with only 7.6% of the ETF made up by tech stocks. The top sectors in this ETF are consumer staples, energy, financials, healthcare, and industrials. And their top holdings are a lot more equally weighted, with their top holding coming in at ExxonMobil with 3.35%, and their 10th highest holding coming in at Walmart with 1.84%. Their other top holdings include JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Broadcom, Home Depot, Merck, Chevron, and AbbVie. And VYM also pays out a quarterly dividend, with their lowest dividend over the last 6 quarters coming in at 71 cents and their highest coming in at 97 cents. And the last ETF I have on the list is VNQ. And VNQ invests in REITs, or real estate investment trusts. These are companies that buy office buildings, hotels, and other real estate. And year to date, VNQ is up 8.45%. And long-term performance of this fund comes in at 7.18% since its inception in 2004. However, over the last 10 years, it has only returned 6.41%. And with an annual rate of return of 7.18%, if you were to invest in this fund over 35 years, contributing $7,000 a year, you would have $1.1 million. And REITs are often classified by the type of property that they purchase, and we can see that VNQ has a lot of diversification. They have REITs that are made up of industrial properties, multifamily residence, healthcare, as well as retail, telecommunication towers. There are a number of different types of properties that are all made up in this fund. And its top holdings are the following: Prologis, American Tower Corp, Equinix, Crown Castle International, Welltower, Public Storage, Simon Property Group, Digital Realty Trust, and the famous Realty Income Corp. So personally, all of these are ETFs that I do own, but you need to keep in mind a few different things. The first is my goal by owning these ETFs. Obviously, if you look at performance, I should put all of my money in VOO because it offers the highest return. However, for me, when I'm looking at ETFs, the reason I invest in them is to diversify, and that's why I like to have a few different ETFs that all own companies across the broader market. The second thing I wanted to mention is that past performance does not indicate future results, and what that means and why that is important is because you can't just run a calculation and assume that these results are what you will see in the future. You need to build in some variance and account for different fluctuations in the market. And one of the best ways to do that is by extending your time horizon. We've looked at a lot of ETFs in this video, and they have been all over the place in terms of return. However, if we look at the S&P 500 and what it has returned since 1957, that comes out to a number of 10.13%. And if you enter 10.13% into the same calculator and you add a 2% variance, which means that we could see returns anywhere from 8.13 all the way up to 12.13, that means that you would have a resulting end balance of more like 2.2 million, but it could be up to 3.6 or down to 1.4. So obviously that is a very large range, and that's why you need to run these calculations on your own and figure out what you're comfortable with in terms of risk and diversification. And that's why you should never listen to someone on YouTube, because you need to figure out where you are comfortable and what your own situation looks like. But if you found this video interesting or helpful in any way, I would love to hear in the comments section, what are your favorite ETFs? They don't have to be Vanguard. Let me know down below. But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. And as always, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.